Have you ever loved someone so intensely that it felt like your whole being was lit on fire, only to realize, in the quiet hours, that the same fire could burn you hollow? We live in a world that worships passion, the rush of the first touch, the thrill of being desired, the dizzying spark of attraction. And yet, how often does that spark become smoke, leaving us choking on the ashes of what once felt like forever? I've seen it, in friends, in strangers, in the mirror. The ache of wanting someone with every cell in your body, and the confusion when that want doesn't bring you the peace you thought it would. We tell ourselves it's love, but so often, it's lust dressed in love's clothing. And in the pursuit of that rush, we lose the one thing that truly sustains a soul: inner steadiness. The Stoics, those quiet architects of the soul, warned us centuries ago about this. They didn't tell us to run from love. They told us to know its shape, to understand its roots. They didn't condemn desire. They simply reminded us not to be ruled by it. Because love, in its truest form, isn't a fever that consumes you. It's a flame you tend, steady and warm, no matter the season. But here's the truth. Most of us were never taught the difference. We chase lightning and wonder why we're left in the dark. We confuse the temporary high of being wanted with the deep calm of being understood. We hand over the keys to our peace without ever asking if the other person knows how to hold them. This video is not about giving you a list of rules for love. It's about something deeper: how to master your own heart so that love becomes a source of strength, not a battlefield. We'll explore the ancient wisdom that can help you see clearly when lust is in disguise, how to keep your peace even in the heat of desire, and how to love in a way that leaves you whole, not hollow. If you've ever felt lost between the pull of your emotions and the quiet voice of your reason, stay with me. Because by the end of this journey, you may see that the heart doesn't have to be tamed. It only needs to be led. And that's where our path begins. Number 1. Love and lust through a Stoic lens. If you asked most people to describe love, they'd tell you about butterflies in the stomach, the racing heart, the way someone's presence can light up a room. And yet, the same words could just as easily describe lust. This is where the trouble begins. We confuse the temporary flare of desire with the enduring warmth of love. We mistake a spark for a hearth. The Stoics had a clear, almost surgical way of seeing this. To them, love was a union of virtue and reason. It was the recognition of goodness in another person's character, a harmony of shared values, a meeting of minds and spirits that made both better. Lust, in their eyes, was not evil. It was simply raw passion, a natural impulse that, left unchecked, could blind us to truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Notice, he places love alongside thought and enjoyment, not as an uncontrollable fever, but as something to be cultivated. Love was deliberate, rooted in virtue. Lust, on the other hand, is like a sudden summer storm. It arrives fast, intense, sometimes beautiful in its wildness, but it can tear down what it touches if you don't seek shelter. It pulls you into the present moment with such force that it blinds you to what lies beyond. The Stoics understood that lust could be a thief of foresight. When you're caught in its grip, you stop asking important questions. Does this person share my values? Will they stand with me when life becomes heavy? Will they challenge me to grow, not just satisfy me in the moment? And yet, lust is not the villain. Seneca cautioned against demonizing natural impulses, reminding us that the problem isn't in feeling desire, it's in being enslaved by it. The difference between love and lust, then, isn't that one is pure and the other is corrupt. It's that love, in the Stoic sense, serves the soul, while lust serves the moment. Think about the last time you felt that rush, the electricity when your eyes first met, the way your thoughts kept circling back to them like a hawk over prey. That's lust at work, powerful and intoxicating. But ask yourself, did that feeling make you a better person? Did it draw out your patience, your generosity, your ability to forgive? Or did it simply feed the craving to possess, to claim, to consume? Love, as the Stoics saw it, is quieter but deeper. It's not the candle that burns out in a night. It's the lamp that lights your home for years. It may not make your pulse race every second, but it makes your soul rest easy. It's in the way you respect each other's boundaries, in the way you choose honesty over comfort, in the way you weather conflict without tearing each other apart. In practical terms, recognizing the difference requires slowing down enough to see beyond the surface. Lust demands immediacy. It says now or never. Love is patient. Lust fears the answer to hard questions. Love welcomes them because it knows truth will only strengthen what's real. The Stoics would tell you that the heart is not meant to be ruled by impulse alone. It needs the guidance of reason, not to drain it of passion, but to give that passion a purpose. When desire aligns with virtue, when attraction deepens into mutual respect and shared vision, you've stepped into the realm of love. And here's the paradox. Once you understand this, lust no longer controls you. You can feel its pull without being dragged. You can enjoy its fire without letting it burn your home down. You stop chasing every spark, and you start tending the flame that truly keeps you alive. Because in the end, the question isn't, do I feel this intensely? It's, will this feeling still be my ally when the rush fades? Number 2, why lust feels so overpowering. There's a reason lust can silence reason. It's not a moral weakness or a sign that you've failed at self-control. It's biology doing what biology was designed to do. Your body, after all, is older than your mind. It carries instincts shaped by millions of years of survival. And when desire strikes, those instincts wake up like an ancient drumbeat. From a purely physical standpoint, lust is an intricate cocktail of chemicals. Dopamine floods the brain, lighting up its reward pathways like a city skyline at night. This is the same chemical that spikes when you eat your favorite food, win a game, or hear your favorite song. Except during lust, the surge is far greater. It's nature's way of saying, this is important. Pay attention. Alongside dopamine comes testosterone, sharpening focus, amplifying desire, and narrowing your attention until the object of that desire fills the entire frame of your mind. Then, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, releases during touch and intimacy, tricking the brain into a sense of deep connection, even if you barely know the person. The result is a chemical illusion. It feels like destiny, but often, it's just chemistry. The Stoics didn't know the words dopamine or oxytocin, but they understood the experience well. They called these passions forces that, when unchecked, cloud judgment and make us surrender the captain's wheel of our own lives. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In moments of overpowering lust, we risk becoming passengers in our own ship, tossed wherever the current of desire wants to take us. Think of lust like a storm at sea. When it hits, the waves rise, the wind howls, and all you can think about is staying afloat in that moment. You can't see the horizon. You can't remember where you were headed. That's because lust is engineered for immediacy. It demands now. It doesn't care about later. Here's the trap. That rush feels so good, so alive, that we mistake its intensity for depth. The more overwhelming it feels, the more we believe it must be real. But in truth, the brain's reward system is built to make the chase feel better than the catch. It's why some relationships feel electric at first and then fade into confusion once the novelty wears off. The chemistry quiets, and without something deeper, shared values, respect, patience, the connection collapses. The Stoics approached this not with shame, but with strategy. They accepted lust as part of human nature, but refused to let it rule them. To them, the problem wasn't in feeling desire. It was in believing that desire was the whole truth. A Stoic might say, "Yes, I feel this pull, but will it lead me to the life I want to live?" That pause, that moment of honest questioning, is where freedom begins. One way to apply this today is what I call the 3-day test. If you feel an intense attraction to someone, give it 3 days without acting on it. If the desire still feels compelling, but you can now also see their character, their values, and how they treat others, then you're starting to move from lust's blindness toward love's clarity. But if, after 3 days, the fire has cooled and the interest fades, you've just witnessed lust's temporary nature without paying the cost of regret. Science confirms what the Stoics knew. Emotions are strongest when they're fresh, but they also distort perception. Wait, and the fog lifts. Only then can you see the road ahead. Because lust, in its pure form, isn't evil. It's like wind in your sails. Without it, your journey might be slow, dull, even stagnant. But too much wind, without the rudder of reason, can push you far off course or smash you against unseen rocks. The art is not in killing the wind, but in steering with it. When you understand why lust feels so overpowering, when you see both the science and the ancient wisdom, it loses its power to blind you. You can feel it, enjoy it, and still remain the captain of your ship. And once you master that, love no longer has to fight for space in your heart. It can grow alongside passion, balanced, steady, and free. Number 3. How love can survive lust's storm. Lust is not the enemy of love. Left untamed, it can pull the sails too hard and tear the fabric of trust, but in balance, it can give love the spark that keeps it alive. The challenge is not in feeling passion, but in letting passion and peace exist in the same space. And that, the Stoics would tell you, requires mastery of the self. Think of love as a ship, built slowly over time with care and skill. Lust is the wind. In small bursts, it propels you forward, making the journey thrilling. But storms will come, and when they do, the ship survives not because the wind disappears, but because the anchor holds. That anchor is made of patience, shared values, and the kind of respect that does not crumble under temptation. The Stoics spoke often about pause, the ability to insert a breath between feeling and acting. Seneca wrote, "We should love like a man of reason, not like a beast." That doesn't mean stripping love of its warmth. It means keeping our emotions from pulling us into choices that betray our deepest intentions. In practice, this could be as simple as waiting before reacting to a heated argument or pausing before acting on a moment of temptation that could fracture trust. One of the most powerful ways love survives lust's storm is through friendship. Modern relationships often underestimate this, chasing intensity over companionship. But passion without friendship burns out. A deep friendship within a romance means you know each other's minds, not just each other's bodies. You share interests, respect each other's dreams, and genuinely enjoy each other's company without needing the constant fuel of desire to keep you connected. Another anchor is alignment in values. Ask yourself, does this person honor what I honor? Do they treat others in a way I admire? Do they share my vision for the life I want to live? Lust rarely asks these questions. Love demands them. When your core values match, storms don't break you. They make you stronger because you're rowing toward the same shore. Patience is the third pillar. Lust demands immediacy. Love is willing to wait. This doesn't mean suppressing attraction or refusing intimacy. It means understanding that depth grows over seasons, not days. The Stoics believe that what is truly good will still be good tomorrow, next month, next year. If a connection is real, you don't need to rush to prove it. There's a story I often think about. A couple I knew who fell in love in their early 20s. The attraction between them was undeniable, but so was their mutual discipline. They agreed not to rush into living together, instead building their bond through shared projects, long conversations, and meeting each other's families. By the time they married, their passion hadn't dimmed, but it was woven into a foundation of trust so strong that years later, even as life brought challenges, they weathered them without fear. This is what the Stoics understood, that love thrives when lust is integrated, not idolized. When desire is guided by reason, it doesn't vanish. It becomes richer, more enduring. You begin to see your partner not only as someone who excites you, but as someone who anchors you, challenges you, and walks beside you in the face of life's storms. The pause and reflect practice is one you can begin immediately. The next time you feel an emotional surge, whether from attraction, frustration, or longing, pause. Ask, if I act on this now, will it strengthen the bond we share? Or will it serve only the moment, leaving the connection weaker? This simple question, repeated over time, becomes a shield against choices that could sink the ship you've built. Because love that survives lust is not love without fire. It's love with a fire that warms, not burns. It's the quiet knowledge that no matter how fierce the storm, you've built something strong enough to last. And in that knowledge, peace becomes possible. Number 4, the Stoic Toolkit for Mastering Your Heart. Philosophy is not meant to sit on a dusty shelf. It's meant to live in your hands, in your choices, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. The Stoics didn't just speak in lofty ideas. They built tools, practical and sharp, for navigating the storms of the human heart. And when it comes to love and lust, these tools are like armor, not to hide behind, but to move through the world with both openness and strength. The first tool is journaling your desires. This isn't a diary of confessions. It's a mirror you hold up to your impulses. The next time you feel drawn to someone with that intoxicating urgency, write down exactly what you feel, the rush, the thoughts, the fantasies. Then, ask yourself, what is at the core of this desire? Is it admiration for their character? A resonance with their values? Or is it the pull of novelty, the craving for validation, the thrill of being wanted? Writing it down slows you, forces you to see the desire in daylight instead of the heat of midnight. As Epictetus taught, if you would be a reader, read; if a writer, write. Writing is a form of taming. The second tool is negative visualization. The Stoics practiced imagining the loss of what they valued, not to breed despair, but to sharpen gratitude and perspective. If you love someone, spend a moment picturing life without them, not in a morbid way, but in a way that reminds you their presence is not owed to you. This turns attachment into appreciation. And when lust tempts you towards someone outside that bond, negative visualization can remind you of what is at stake: the trust, the history, the quiet joy you'd be gambling away. The third tool is focusing on controllables. Lust often feels unbearable because it's tangled up in what we can't control: how someone else feels, whether they desire us back, how long the spark will last. The Stoics freed themselves by cutting the cord between their peace and things outside their control. You cannot control another's attraction. You cannot force permanence. You can control your actions, your words, the standards you hold yourself to. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. In matters of the heart, this is the ultimate shield. The fourth tool, one modern Stoics often overlook, is intentional solitude. When you're constantly in the pull of others' attention, it's easy to confuse their energy for your own clarity. Spend time alone, deliberately. No phone, no distractions, no one else's voice in your head. This is where you discover whether your feelings are truly yours or just echoes of someone else's presence. Solitude is not emptiness. It is the space where your discernment grows roots. And the fifth tool, which ties them all together, is deliberate pausing. It sounds too simple, but it's the hinge upon which every wise decision turns. When you feel pulled into an emotional current, whether it's the urgency of lust, the frustration of conflict, or the temptation to act without thinking, pause. Take one breath, then another. In that small gap, the wave loses its grip. As Seneca wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." That power begins with a single moment of stillness. These tools are not meant to kill desire, but to refine it, to transform it from a force that tosses you about into one that moves you toward a life you can be proud of. They give you the ability to stand in the heat of emotion without melting into it, to enjoy the spark of attraction without burning down the foundation you've built. Because in the end, the heart is not something you conquer once. It's something you steward every day. And with the right tools, you can walk through the world with both tenderness and strength, knowing that no matter who enters your life, your peace does not hang in their hands. It remains where it has always belonged, within yours. Number 5, pitfalls to avoid. When people first hear about applying Stoicism to love and lust, there's a common misstep. They mistake control for suppression and strength for distance. They think mastering the heart means locking it away, draining it of feeling, building walls so high that nothing can touch them. And while that might keep the storms out, it also keeps the sun from coming in. The first pitfall is confusing detachment with indifference. Stoicism asks us to remain centered no matter what waves crash around us. But that doesn't mean we stop caring. A Stoic doesn't turn away from love. They walk into it with open eyes. Indifference says, "I will not feel." True Stoic steadiness says, "I will feel fully, but I will not be ruled." If you've ever met someone who hides behind coldness, who uses "I don't care" as armor, you know how lonely that fortress becomes. The second pitfall is turning Stoicism into judgment. Once we learn to spot the difference between love and lust, it's tempting to label every relationship we see. Theirs is shallow, mine is deeper, they're lost in passion, I'm grounded in reason. But judgment clouds compassion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You can't be sure of the inner motives of others." Love is a personal language. What looks like a storm from the outside might be harmony on the inside. The third pitfall is over-intellectualizing the heart. Some people, in the pursuit of self-mastery, start treating relationships like logic puzzles, weighing pros and cons, running mental simulations, trying to reason their way into certainty. But love isn't a transaction, it's a living thing. The Stoics embraced reason, yes, but they also valued the virtues of kindness, loyalty, and courage. If you strip love of spontaneity, of small acts done simply because they feel right, it stops breathing. The fourth pitfall is using Stoicism as an escape from vulnerability. Vulnerability is the soil where intimacy grows. If you avoid showing your fears, your hopes, your scars, if you never risk letting someone see the unpolished parts of you, you'll never experience the full depth of love. Stoicism doesn't mean never hurting. It means knowing you can survive hurt without losing yourself. It's the courage to say, "This is me," even when you don't know how it will be received. The fifth pitfall is treating emotional mastery as a one-time achievement. Self-control isn't something you win and keep forever. It's something you practice daily. You will still be tempted, still feel jealousy, still get swept up in moments of passion or anger. The difference is that you return to center faster. The Stoics didn't aim for perfection, they aimed for progress. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Your ability to master your heart will be tested again and again, and each time you come back to yourself, you grow stronger. There's also the subtle danger of forgetting joy. If you focus so much on guarding your heart that you never let yourself be surprised, delighted, or swept up in the simple beauty of being alive with someone else, you're missing the point. Stoicism is not a gray, emotionless existence. It's the art of enjoying life without being enslaved by it. It's laughing deeply knowing that the moment will pass, and loving it all the more because of that. Avoiding these pitfalls comes down to balance. Stay open, but not unguarded. Be discerning, but not cynical. Seek clarity, but don't strangle wonder. The Stoic path is not about building a cage for your heart. It's about giving it the strength to roam freely without fear of being broken beyond repair. Because in the end, the goal is not to emerge from love untouched. It's to emerge unshaken. To walk through every joy and every sorrow with the quiet confidence that, no matter what, you remain whole. That is the kind of strength no storm can take from you. The heart at peace. Love and lust are not enemies. They are simply different currents in the same ocean. One is the swift tide that can sweep you off your feet, thrilling and dangerous. The other is the deep, steady flow that carries you toward the horizon, year after year. When you learn to tell them apart, and when you choose to steer with both passion and reason, you find a kind of freedom most people never touch. The Stoics did not ask us to live without feeling. They asked us to live without chains, to love fully, without surrendering the helm of our own mind, to feel desire, without letting it dictate our course, to welcome connection, but never at the cost of our peace. And maybe that's the greatest gift of this path, knowing that your happiness no longer depends on who walks into your life or who walks away. Your heart becomes a place of shelter, not a battlefield. If this spoke to you, I invite you to take one small action today. Choose one tool we explored and try it. See how it changes the way you love, the way you carry yourself, the way you breathe. And if this journey resonated, I'd be honored if you'd like this video, subscribe to Stoic now, and share your story in the comments. Not as a transaction, but as part of a community that values depth over noise. Because love, in the end, is not just something you find. It's something you build and something you protect. And when you master your heart, you don't just find lasting peace. You become it.